Thank you for participating.
Thank you for having me.
Could you tell us your name?
My name is Asukwo Udo.
Where were you born?
I was born in a little village called Ndiaitok in a local government called Ikono local government in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria.
Can you tell me something about your village?
Yes, a little village of about 300 people. And it's a very clean village. And when I was born into that village, there was no lights, as the case may be. There was no pipe-borne water. We go to stream to another village in order to get drinking water in a stream. And it was very hard. And we have only one primary school there, which we share with another village in between the boundary, because there was a problem in between the boundary and the people, the locals. So in order to settle the whole issue about this land, so they brought a primary school and built it there in between the boundary of the two villages. And then we always go to school with the other villagers, which sometimes we fight, sometimes we quarrel, sometimes destroy a lot of things because of the situation of, inconsistency of every villagers. Yeah. And my village, I could say, is a unique village that I love so much because we are so much accumulated. We welcome people with, make people feel free that you are in a village where you can feel belong. And that was, that is a kind of village that's so unique in my own time.
What did you do after school?
Well, I engaged myself in different things in order to survive. First and foremost, when I finished school, I engaged in photographic work, which my in-law, who married my elderly sister, was a photographer. Then he locked me into the profession, but that time it was more or less black and white. So it was a local kind of photographic system. So I didn't so much like the way he taught me about the whole system and the photography work, because himself, we were not living together. So it's only, I have to ride bicycle from almost 40 kilometers in order to learn, and it was so stressful. So that was my first experience after school.
And after that?
Yeah, after that, I even in the village there, I couldn't really manage myself because I came from, let me say, a very low background. So I have to, from school, I have to go to a township called Uyo. Then I made up my mind to travel from my village to Uyo Township at that time to look for work. Then when I got there, I got a job in a bakery. So when I got a job, it was only a token of money that I was paid at that material time. So it was not enough, but I was able to support my parents with this little money, and at the same time, use that for my school fees. And during that period, I have to struggle to try and see whether I can upgrade myself from that level to another level. Actually, I did, which from there, from the township Uyo, I couldn't continue the education anymore. So I have to, engage myself in furniture work, because it was so lucrative at that time. Because my parents told me that, okay, since you cannot continue the photography work, why not take something else that you can settle down in future? I said, okay, that is okay. And then I got I became an apprentice after my secondary school. I became an apprentice to a guy who had a furniture shed. So I started, I spent 3 years to learn how to make furniture, chairs, upholstery, and so on, a table, and so on and so forth. And it was so great. And this guy liked me. He said, okay, after my apprenticeship, I should join him to continue the work. He will be paying me because a lot of people at that time patronized him of his own handwork and what I was trying to put together with him.
And after that?
Yeah. After that, actually, after at some point, there was an economical impasse that really hit Cross River State. At that time, there was no, in my state, there was no division of state. It was only one state that covers a large landmark of my city. So it was that time there was no sales, there was nobody to patronize the work anymore. So the thing went down slowly until this guy decided to close down the furniture workshop. Then I was thinking what to do next. From there, I decided, I said, okay, one of my friends, which we were working in a bakery, called me because we were friends in the same township. He called me, he said, Asuko, can we travel to Lagos, a big city, than Uyo, in order to search for a work? So when the guy, came to me, introduced this idea, in fact, I imbibed the idea, said, okay, we can go. But the guy asked me, do I have money, capital, to which we can transport ourselves, to think about the accommodation, the food on our way going? I said, well, it took me at least 8 weeks to decide and agree within myself without my parents' notice. So this makes me, it makes me so strong, so confident. So as I was working, I was keeping some part of money for that purpose. So it came to a time, the guy called me that, one man whom his sister knew is living in Lagos. So I said, okay, what do you want to do with him? He said to me that this man said he can employ us, or he can employ him because he has at that time a security company. He employed people sending them to different locations for security purposes. I said, okay, fine. So what do we do? One fateful day, the guy called me and said, the man said we should come to Lagos. The Lagos, was former Nigerian capital, and it's a big city. So one day we decided to move without my parents' notice, as I said. We moved, we got to a place we couldn't reach there. So we diverted our attention, our movement to a different place called a different city, or a different state, not Lagos State, that's Ogun State. So when we got there, they took us, when we got there, it was night, and we were afraid on our journey to that place. When we got there, so they said, okay, we asked the people around the local in that community, so this is where we are going. And it was a village, it's a farm also. So the people directed us, and we boarded a taxi. The taxi took us to inside village. And this inside village was a palm farming, palm kernel farming. I don't know whether you know palm kernel. You may not know, but Indonesia came to Nigeria to pick it, and today Indonesia is one of the oil-producing country in the world today because they got it from Nigeria. So this is what happened at that material time when we got to this village. then we have to stay there. Not knowing that the man who asked us to come are waiting for us, and we have already diverted our movement to a different direction. So we were there for good 1 month. The situation was so terrible, so unbearable. So at that point, we decided to move, because from that state, it's a neighboring state to Lagos State. So we moved from there.
Why was it so unbearable?
Yeah, because the farming work it was a task work. They give you a portion that you have to clear the farm at that time, and if you cannot complete it, they will not pay you. And also, what made it unbearable was there are so many dangerous animals inside this farm. Snakes and some scorpions and dangerous animals that are attacking people, which we experienced it physically. And that made it unbearable. So we decided to leave the place, move down to Lagos. And what happened was that even our movement was not well planned. And as a matter of fact, you know, being an African, sometimes when we want to take up a journey, we don't really plan it properly. More especially when you are a vulnerable person, when you are a low-income person, and when you try to survive without anybody to help you out of your situation, then you have to take a decision and cross your mind that where you are going, you don't know. How you plan it, you don't have any plan. But you move on. And this is how we live on. So we got to a city of Lagos. This guy, that time there was no mobile phone proper, because the guy used the address the man gave to him and traced the address and got to the house of the man. When we got there, so the man said, but I promise only you to come. Why are you with a second person? Who is this second person? He says, the guy said, it's my friend, we have been working, we have been living together, doing some things together. The man said, no. What he needs is you. If you want, I give you a place to stay with my other workers. But for this man, I don't have anything to do with him. I became stranded, to be honest. So I stood up, and I have no idea for the first time to go to a big city like this. So I became stranded. The guy was so worried in his mind how I would survive without me staying together in order to move on. So there was a kind of church I went. It was not a church I love to worship or to go. But that church is called, this white garment church called Cherubim and Seraphim. So I got a friend there nearby where that man was living. So I talked to one man there. I said, I'm helpless, I'm stranded. Please, can you help me? I want to at least pass a night here. The guy said, okay, no problem. He himself is staying there. I said, okay. So that is how I have to come down there. The guy took care of me, provided me what to eat, and he gave me water to drink. I slept there. The following morning, I called the guy in the morning. I said, I'm a new person in the city. I don't know. I don't have anybody. I don't know where to go. The guy said I should calm down, that he will find a way for me to survive. I said, okay. And he spoke to me as somebody I knew before. And I spent at least 5 days in that guy's house. Then also was a bakery. Then he took me to that bakery. Fortunately, they asked me if I know how to mold bread. I said yes. And to my own greatest surprise, because I've forgotten how to mold bread because it was a long period of a time. So they called me in, they tasted me, they gave me the bread they cut, and so I was trying. After I mold one or two. So they were washing me, the baker was washing me how I mold the bread. I made a mistake. So when I made a mistake, the guy came to me and said, I know you have a little or no idea, but I will make you be perfect. That time I was still young. So the guy came to me, he showed me how to mold the bread with my hand, which I molded. The following day, the first, second, third bread I molded with my hand was not rise very well. So the guy said, this is what you did. I said, okay, I apologized to him. And he said, okay, no problem. The one he showed to me was perfect, was rise perfectly. So the following day again, another job came up, which I started to mold the bread. I was perfect in that thing. Then I continued with them, and they paid me after 1 month, and I look at my hand, there was money in my hand to survive. I was still coping with that guy who helped me to stay for the church over there. So I worked there for some period of months. That time there was no phone to call my mom. My mom was worried because my dad died before my mom. So my mom was worried my whereabouts because I didn't notify where I'm going. So one fateful day, it was during Christmas period. So I decided, I said, no, I want to go because from my village to Lagos City, very far away, almost 12 hours or 14 hours. I drive all night. So I decided from that bakery, I bought wrapper for my mom. I bought some things to make my mom happy, and I paid my mom a surprise visit when I got my village. Oh, my mom was so uplifted and excited. She asked me, she was crying, where have you been? What happened to you? Then I sat my mom down. I explained everything explicitly for her to understand how I move. So it was there, she knelt down, she prayed for me. When I presented the wrapper is to tie it, it's our traditional and cultural dressing. So I presented the wrapper for her, so she was happy. And from there, I stayed with her in the village. We know when you are from a big city, you become a local champion. So people admire me, talking to them, appreciating. Oh, because when you travel to Lagos, come back, then you become a different person altogether. So my mom was happy, and the villagers. Then when the time comes, I told my mom I'm going back to Lagos. He said, really? I said, yes. Because I cannot stay here. I have to support you. I have to do something. He said, yeah, you are right. I left once again to Lagos. So it was in this Lagos, I have to stay for at least 8 to 12 years in Lagos, struggling, going home, coming back to Lagos. I rented a place for my own, and also sometimes I work, sometimes I don't have work to do, but I live on. I stay with that kind of scenario all over and over and over again because I didn't have a university level to move on to look for a bigger job. Because in the most worrisome thing is that if you are not, even if you are a university graduate, it's very difficult to find work in my country at that time, even now up till now, because the economy situation is so bad that we don't produce, we don't manufacture anything. It's only we depend on certain foreign investors and other things. Then you can engage yourself with your skills and talents or whatever you have to do. So it was there, I said, okay, fine. After some period of time, I decided on my own that I should leave my country. because I found out that Nigeria at that point, at that time, it was not a place to get my future. Because I was looking at my future because I had a plan. I've decided what to do in life. I choose a profession, but that profession I couldn't fulfill it. I wanted to be international journalist or a musician. This was things that came to my mind even when I was in primary school, because I like interviewing people, I like talking to people, I like relating to people, asking people some hard questions. When even I was in primary school and people were saying that I have that talent to confront and to talk to people without fear or shame. So even musical ability was in me to move on with music, because I was, at that time, I remember one man called Jimmy Cliff. I love his music so much at that time. So it was all the time I would be repeating Jimmy Cliff music to sing, and people would be enjoying, and I had a good voice at that time to sing very well. So these were the two professions I choose to be in my life, more especially journalism, because I love it. It's a noble profession which in my only two local where I put it into practice, and I love it. So from that point, I said, okay, I want to move to a different city. It was in that Lagos I learned this plumbing work. I think you know what I mean by plumbing work. So I was following one guy there who is also my friend, who was doing a company work as a plumber. So I was an assistant to him. He said, okay, do you have any other profession? I said, no. The profession I had, I cannot do it because it's somehow hard. This carpentry work. And before you do a carpentry work, you have to at least have a shop in order to showcase what you are doing. And he said, okay, can you learn plumbing work? I said, yes, I can do it. And because I love it, the way there was money in that profession, I said, okay, I can do it. He said, okay, you have to look and work with me and be careful and be intelligent, and whatever I'm doing, please don't forget. Don't do like this. And it was there I grabbed to be a plumber. I worked with him for some period of months. Later, I left him. I became a person on my own. I started doing it by myself. People will be calling me to do it. Even some of my masters are customers or clients. Then they will call me to do it for them. I do it perfectly for them, and they pay me. And I found out that there was money. It was there also. I have something in my mind when it was so difficult also for me to continue, because there was a time people don't actually want to continue with individual work, but they go to company to contract them for their domestic work to do for them. So because at that time people were afraid for people, individuals, to come to their house and work without any guardian or any paper or anything that you will do without any identity. Or they want to know where you are coming from, where you are living, all those things. There was nothing. You were just walking to somebody's house. They said, no. It's because there was a lot of cases. People don't want to, bear it anymore. So from there, it was so difficult for me to cope with that. So I decided that one of architect, which is a member of my church, sorry to put that, was a member of my church, and also he was my friend. So he was architect. He drew plan, he built house. So he had a contract in Abuja, the new capital of Nigeria today. He came to me and said, can you do this work in a whole building, 3-story building? I said, yes. He said, okay, come. He took me from Lagos to Abuja. From there, I work because the owner of the house was a Navy officer, a naval officer. So he took me there. The man was not all that straightforward to pay the money instrumentally for me to get money in bulk. So I was not happy with the situation. I told the guy that as it is now, though I'm living with you, but I will be going out to look for some other job or some other contract, which I did. And he agreed, I did that, and which I survived from where I was living without, if I work there, I will also be working somewhere in the city, Abuja.
You were in the new capital of Nigeria.
Yeah.
What happened next?
Yeah, when I stopped doing the plumbing work, because I was doing it with some people also. There was a guy who was doing this tiling work, tiles and marbles. I became a friend with him. So the guy was facing also a kind of uncertainty. He came to me one day and said, Asuku, I want to discuss one thing with you. I said, what is it? He said, not here. Can I come to his house? I said, yes, I can come to your house, but give me some time. He said, okay. Then when the fateful day came, he invited me to his house. I went. He asked me, he want to go to Libya. I said, what are you saying? How do we go? By flights, by land, or how? Because I never wanted to travel out of Nigeria, and I travel almost about 15 states in my country, but I never travel out. I don't know. I don't have passport. I don't have anything. He said, don't worry. I said, okay. First of all, we wanted to go to Gambia. From Gambia, maybe we moved to Senegal, from Senegal to Spain. That's what we had in mind. But unfortunately, the cost was too high. So when I went to, the guy had money. He sent me to, from Abuja to Lagos to verify how much is the cost from embassy. I went to Gambian embassy. They gave me all their details. I went through the details, was so expensive. We didn't have that money. I went back with the information. I informed him that, look, it's not possible. He said, okay, Libyan route will be possible. I said, okay, fine. We made all necessary things to get out of the country between me and that my friend called Eric. So one day he came to me because he knew where I was living. He came to me and said, Asuku, I'm really sick and tired of my life with my wife, and my wife is sick. And I said, well, for me to leave my wife and my kids would not be possible, though my wife is working as a civil servant. So, but he said to me, there is no problem, we can go, be sending money, be coming and go back, and this, because this is outside country, and we heard that there's a lucrative work to do there. I said, okay, fine. So he came to me, and this third time, I told him I don't have money. He said, okay, I will give you money. I need to go with you. I said, why? He said, because if he go with me, then it will give him the agility. It will give him determination. It will give him that if he belong, that somebody is behind him. And he also will be behind me. I said, okay, fine. He brought, that very day, he went to his bank, withdrew 25,000 naira in Nigerian currency. He gave it to me cash. He said, this morning, I want you to make your passport. I want you to take care of whatsoever we want to buy to travel to Libya. This guy never told me how to travel to Libya, whether by car, whether by bus, whether by train or flight. There was no idea. So, but what I did was to get my passport. That was the first time I got my passport, how I never even knew how my Nigerian passport looks like. It was that material time. I went to immigration, I did my passport, they gave it to me. Then I told him that my passport is ready. He said, okay, we have to be ready. They issued me some things to buy. Then it was when the very day I slept in his house, we want to move. Then he told me the Libyan route, how we should go. And his wife was there. We were 3 in number. So he told me everything. I was shocked. We have to enter a motor from one state to another. I was completely devastated when he mentioned how to go. Because this thing was very far. My vision, my thinking was very far. Because I knew there would be a problem. He said we shouldn't worry. Then after this man, Eric, finished his speech, the wife was crying. The wife left the sitting room, went into the bedroom. She was crying, crying aloud. This thing touched my mind. I called Eric. I said, Eric, can we suspend this move? And he said, no. That he made up his mind. Let's go. Because he didn't have a child at that material time. So we left early morning, 5 o'clock, to cash off the car that was to go to that a city called Kano, from Abuja to Kano. We boarded a car from Karachi to Kano City. When we got to Kano, they took us to one outskirts of the city where the car is going to another neighboring country called Niger. And that village is called Sinden. So this Sinden, we boarded this thing, and the car went through desert. And I call that kind of journey international fraud road. So that is the name I gave to that kind of journey, international fraud route. So when we got to Sinden, when we got to the border of Sinden between Nigeria and Niger, then we were stopped and checked. We submitted our passport, we have to pay some money in order to cross over. And it was there in that park we make an exchange of money. So we made the exchange. I got about 30,000 sefa from where I changed the money. So I asked Eric, can this 30,000 sefa take us to Libya? He said yes. So from there, since then, we want to make a connection of combined car. And this combined car, if you go to internet, you see a heavy loaded truck, loaded with people, men and women, different tribes from Sahara Desert, taking people from that point to another city called Sinden. Agadez, sorry. From Sinden to Agadez. This city is inside Niger Republic. So, and from Sinden to Agadez took us one day. When I got to this Agadez, and from this Sinden to Agadez is a desert, all through desert. You see this is the first time I experienced a tropical wind, that a tropic is turn the sand up like this, go up and take it down, and these are the things you see. Some of the Arabs, some of the people from desert cover their head and their face and their nose because of that, because it easily blind people's eyes. That is why sometimes if you see these Arabs who are living in desert, who are from desert, cover their head, their faces, and so on and so forth. But apart from that, there's other religious value to that in a way. So it was in that Sinde I bought this, I forgot the name, the way they are, what they call, in order to wrap on my head, because it's necessary. If you don't do it, the tendency for you to have malaria or some other inflammatory sickness is there. So I bought it, I wrap all over my face. So we moved, because you have to be on top of truck. And this truck is an open truck. So I experienced this ugly situation. When I got to Agadez, I was still asking this guy, how long are we going to reach Libya? There was no answer. Because from this point of a place called Abuja to Sinde, from Sinde to Agadez, is that place is a little bit free. So when we got to Agadez, we have to stay in a connection house and meet the connection people and connection passengers in different locations in the same city. So I saw a lot of men and women, different African people coming to this Agadez in order to sail to Libya. And from this Agadez, you don't go to Libya straight. There is a place called Duruku. It's a military base, but it's a transit. It's a city of transit, but military base there to protect the border between Libya and their country. And they call that place no man's land. So when we get to that place, we have to stay there for 1 week in Agadez to make connection. Which truck will you enter? Finally, we got a truck, paid the money down. They gave us the day and the time to move. Then we prepared. And when we prepared to go, it was hard for me to really decide, to be honest. Because when I got to the bus station, I saw a lot of people. And I've never lived a kind of hooligan life. I live a very gentle and quiet life. But when I saw something that unhuman, it traced my imagination. So I crossed my mind. I said, well, I've already left my country, and this is a very difficult task. And the guy was behind me. So when that day we entered the truck, and the truck, you climb it up there on top of you, they arrange you how to sit, where to sit so that you will not fall, because most of the time as the car is going inside the desert, because it passed through a lot of sand, rock, so many obstacles in desert, because they don't have the proper route that it goes, or tar route. They don't have tar route in desert. From Agadez to that place, they don't have tar route. To Duruku, they don't have tar road. So we have to pass, they use their initiative, they don't have compass. So we arrange ourselves up the truck. Then the journey started. So when it took us 3 days to get to that military zone called Durugu, when we got there, we saw a lot of people, a lot of passengers, a lot of boys and girls, a lot of things happening there. So it was there my money got finished. Because when we were going, we went through a lot of checkpoints. The soldiers, you see police, you have to pay, and they search, make a search, whether you have money, whether you have draw, whether you have this, what are you going there for? They ask you a lot of questions, and you have, before you can buy your way out, it's not a mere talking, you have to pay your way out with money. I did that. When I got to that Duruku, it was there my money got finished. And Eric, my friend, was still having money. And he said to me, I stayed there for 2 months with him. He never told me that he have money. So one day he called me, said, Asuku, I answered. He told me that I'm going to Libya. I've made my connection from here to Libya. I said, really? He said, yes. I said, I don't have money. My money got finished. What do? He said I should wait for him, that he will send money for me to come over. When the guy left with a combined car again from Druku to Saba in Libya, he got there very well. That time, before you send message to that point, unless you see somebody from that place want to come to that place, then you send message. Either you write a letter or you send that person verbal message to come and deliver. They will find it here because we know everybody living in that military zone. So he sent message that he have reached there. He's now looking for work, and because he was doing this tiling work, you know what I mean, Islamic. So I stayed there for good 9 months in that place without no help, without no job, because this is the dead zone I've never experienced in my life. I stayed there for good 9 months without help. I started molding these blocks, this mud block. I think it's 2 by 8 inches centimeter block to build a mud house, which those people, the stranded passengers, are building to start some things and so on and so forth. I started molding that thing. Because when you want to build it, you have to make a shape of wood, and you have to use your leg to dig a ground, put water, and mash the mud to mix up with the level you want. And this is what I did to survive in that point. I spent good 9 months there. So it was that point I became no communication. From that point to Nigeria, no communication. And I was not eager to send any message because I was coverless. I was with nothing. So, and also was ashamed for me to go back empty-handed to see my family. Then my feeling will be that I will die prematurely. That was my idea. I said, no, it's better for me to go forward than to go back. Then I decided, said, okay, now I got to this point, a point of no return. Now decided that one commandant in that military zone built a guest house. Then he said to many people that they need Nigerians to guide that place as a security for 1 month. Then when you guide there for 1 month, they will give you food twice in a day, morning and evening. I said, okay, fine. So my friend at that time was somewhere molding this thing. The guy, my friend, was looking for me. One of my friends over there was looking for me to do it together. Then when it is time, then we go together. I was nowhere to be found. The guy went there, they took him, he started. When he saw me this following day, he said he was looking for me, and this thing I've passed, but I should wait for the second time. Then I continued till, also when the guy left, I took over the place, the guest house. So the guest house was built for the drivers from Libya to that point. So I was eating, there was no payment. It's only the food, and to send you to Libya free of charge. And when I got to this point, I said, okay, I was a little bit okay, that it rekindled my hope that there will be a time I leave this place for good. I said, okay. I served this man, the commandant, in that place. Then a time came to pass. There was a truck called Marlboro truck. But this Marlboro truck, it consists of a lot of things inside. People know what Marlboro is all about, a cigarette. But there are so many content in this truck because sometimes it come in convoy. It can come 50, 60, or 70, or 100 in a row. So when they come, they gather very many people. And when you serve and you pay, either you pay money or you serve people like this, then they send you to that truck to go with them. And these people driving this truck called Marlboro, they are hardened people. And these are the people that, most of them armed with gun. Most of them armed with dagger and all necessary equipment to fight back to anybody that can confront them, either in the desert or anywhere. And these people, they are very popular, they are professional inside the desert. They know where they are going, they know where they are coming from. So when the day my date expired, the commandant sent signal to us that we should prepare. Then we were prepared to go with the Marlboro car. I was afraid, to be honest, because the kind of people were not Nigerian citizens. They were Chadians. And these Chadians of the driver, they are hardened kind of people. So they were criminal-minded people that they can kill, they can do whatever in the desert. Nobody ask, nobody know. I was afraid. And when they sent me to one of the driver, and it's like I was lucky enough, they sent me to a kind of driver who have human sympathy. When they introduced me to him, I said, are you the person to go with me in Arabic? I said, yes. He said, okay, fine. Because they need two people inside the truck. If it is 100, 2 times 100, you know it's 200 people. So these people will take the number of people to Libya. I said, okay. And this truck, they have everything. They have food, water, cigarette, what to drink. They have everything. And at the time when we got to desert, we drove from Duruku to No Man's Land. And when we got to No Man's Land, that is where they stopped. Inside desert, in between Niger and Libya. And when we got to this point, they now surrounded the whole place with this truck because they go in convoy. They don't go 1 or 2 or 3, even 10. Sometimes they go 50, 70 on one line. So we stopped there. They cook. They brought out a bag of rice. They know the number of people inside one car. They cook. Everybody eat together. So if you don't eat, you are in trouble. And when you eat, you have to obey every command they give to you, every direction, everything they tell you, no argument. So when they tell you do this, you must do it. But I was happy that there was no criminal activities during my journey with these people. And when we got to inside desert, there was problem between Gaddafi and them, because the information got to Gaddafi that there is illegal things inside desert. Then Gaddafi sent helicopter, sent soldiers to the border town, which they always pass. And it was a very problem to that particular time, which I was involved. So we were staying inside desert, and it came to a time our water finished. And I realized that inside this desert, the people called tourists, they were trying to dig a well inside desert with pipe. I don't know how they did it. So they put pipe inside desert and they got water. And this pipe is not a big pipe, it's like 8 cm pipe in size. The size of the pipe is 8 cm. And you cannot draw water, but they only put it, what we need to do, there is a can, a very small can like this that can pull through. Then we put rope, tie the rope in between to send the can inside that pipe to draw water. And the kind of water they came up with was rusty water, very red. And we have no choice than to drink this water, cook with it, drink it. And it came to a time I said, I never drink this kind of water. Sometimes I left them, I have to urinate and drink. So, because I was afraid of this red water, that it would cause me something else. They said, no, it doesn't cause people anything. They drink it all the time. I said, okay. After I couldn't drink my urine anymore, I have to join them and drink the roasted water. We were there for 17 days in desert there until the whole tension came down when the helicopter stopped flying, which Gaddafi sent to monitor what is going on in the desert. We were there in the desert for good 17 days. Then one of them, because they have signal, they have something like a horn, they blow it. And when they blow, you know that they are ready to move. And when they blow that horn, sometimes they have their meeting within the driver themselves. With the passengers, you don't have part because they speak one language. So when they gather and speak, and they decided that the road is clear because the people over there having given them signals through Tranjas or UBS, because they have the UBS with them and the Tranjas with them. So they received the signal that the road is okay. When when that horn was blown, then we move. The moment we move from morning till night, there was no stop. We drove all the night and morning. And when we drove, there was one Land Cruiser car that led them. And this Land Cruiser car did not use light. It only used this parking light. And they follow the step of this Land Cruiser. There is no mistake, all in one line. And I was watching what is going on with them. And we followed this thing strictly. There was no food. There was no water. There was nothing. We drove almost 23 hours from the point inside desert to Sabah, a place called Sabah, a commercial city in Libya called Sabah. So when we got to that Sabah, and when they directed this truck called Marlboro truck to, it was not a warehouse, it was farm, a big farm like a football field. And they have so many stores and warehouses inside that farm. And nobody's tamper there is well guided. So when we got there, they speak Arab. He said, higher, higher, meaning to say that everybody should come down from the truck. When we came down, then there are people stand by to offload everything inside that house. And they left this thing empty. And there is something we call bidon. This bidon is is a, I don't know whether it's French in language. Bidon is a water container. You store your water there inside desert. And this storage water, you have to pin it with a sack bag so that it will cool during the dry season. So we had this and they collected everything from us and we left everything for them. We moved. So they packed all of us in one truck in order to enter city of Sabah. So we were there and this truck was not the truck that we came there with. It was a body truck. Nobody would see anybody inside. So as we were inside, they asked us that nobody should make pim, nobody should cough, because we are going through police checkpoint, and we have to obey. And they said, anybody that make this thing police to catch them because it's illegal. One, you transport people without papers into Libyan city. So we obeyed and we subjected to that, and which we went through inside the city, got to a point also, we look at the city, motor is passing, they drop us, and as fast as, let me say 5 minutes, everybody is on ground. Then the trucks zoom off. Then you have to go where you don't know. It was there, I took my stand, I entered the city, I entered like a mad person because my clothes was torn apart and dusty and so on, even my head, and you see, so it was there I went to one restaurant. I sat down because when you got to that restaurant is like, when you go there, you are like a passenger to them, you are like a customer to them. When you stay there, they will give you a place to stay in that restaurant. That restaurant is, when they are selling in the afternoon, you will not be there. They will set up the tables and the chairs for customers. So when it is night, 12 o'clock, when they close, they park the chairs, park in one place, then people can sleep one after another, one by one. That was what had happened there. So I stayed there. I look at myself, I look at how the struggle, the hurdles, the difficulties I went through. I said, no. I sat down, I comforted myself what to do next. Because this is a country, I don't know their culture, I don't know their language, I don't know, I'm not in the same religion with them. And I saw a different character, a different attitude, a different thing altogether. So I was completely disappointed for me to get to that kind of country that I'm not welcome. I'm not welcome in the sense that if you greet somebody, they will close their nose or close their mouth, or sometimes they don't even respond to your greeting. And I was not used to that kind of life, that you see somebody, you don't smile, you don't laugh, you don't even welcome, you don't talk to him or her. And the worst of all that really makes me to feel that I don't belong to that society is if you talk to a woman, the woman may be running away. And even if you are going on the street, the opposite direction, the woman will run away from that part. Maybe enter somebody's compound, if somebody's compound is close to that road, or if it is farm, you see that woman standing afar inside the farm until you pass through, then she will come out and go the opposite direction. That was what really, I've never experienced that in my life. So I have to cope with that. And I try to make sure that I summon myself courage to live in order to see what I can do. Then the next thing that came to my mind, there was a place they call, a place people gather to look for work. Or if you're a plumber, if you're a painter, if you're medicine, if you're an electrician, was all those manual work. Then you can go there and look for work. And the Libyans will come, bring their cars, because the country at that time was very rich. So because they themselves, they don't work at that time. They just they come and carry, whatever you tell them, they will pay you, provided you know what you are doing.
What time is it now in your story? Like which year?
That is 2003 to 2010.
Mm-hmm. How was so? What did you do in Libya?
I was doing fixing the tiles.
Mm-hmm.
Was fixing the tiles. All other things I couldn't do them, but the tiling work, because was a very lucrative work and it's very scarce. Those who knows the work, they are very scarce. And how I came to this work was the guy whom we stayed together in that place. He left was a tiler, and I was also a plumber. So when I get to Libya, I start to practice the plumbing work, but my standard was not up to what they are doing there. And I learned to cope with that. I did it. So at the time, my friend now realized that I am now in Libya. And from Tripoli, where he was, he realized that I came to Saba, which is very far away from Saba to Tripoli. And the guy also who left me before me in the camp, and that military zone, he realized that I'm inside the city, and that the same city he was living is where I was also. So he sent for me. He said, whether it is true, I'm there. I said, yes. He came, he met me, he was very happy. So the signal went to the guy who was in Tripoli. He said, I'm around. He said, okay, he was grateful that I'm around, that I should come to Tripoli. I said, I don't have money. I'm living in a restaurant now. I'm trying to see whether I can. And that time, that plumbing work, I didn't have any equipment. There was no tools for me to use. Somebody gave me some Niger people who were there for a long time. So when they found out that I'm a plumber, so they now started giving me spanners, giving me some other things like a dicing machine and so on and so forth. They started giving me, sometimes I don't have the ability because I didn't speak the language. So sometimes if they get work, then they take me along with them. I work with them, then they pay me what due to me. From there, the guy sent message to me that I should come. Whether I have money, I said yes. I said, okay, make a time. I went there to Tripoli, from Saba to Tripoli. I met him. He was waiting for me. When I got there, he said he got a contract in a hospital to make this lace. So it was a big contract in a hospital. There was a renovation of the hospital. So it was a big contract. So it was there. I also joined my friend who left me, that I spent 9 months in one place. So he told me that since it is not that you cannot base your provision on one part. Now I'm here, I take the contract, why not work with me than to go and look for a different plumbing work? So I bought the idea with him. I stayed there with him. And oftentimes he told me also that I have to learn, because this is one of the lucrative, or even anywhere. I said, yes, it's true. And that was true. And it was this tiling work, I made money out of it. And because we work regularly, every day, and the way the guy lay his tiles, I followed the step, and he said I should look, and that is where I learned how to make tiles, how to lay tiles, and marbles and skating. So I learned perfectly. So when we had the information that his wife is sick, because the wife was all continuously crying, asking him to come back. So he said he want to go back to Nigeria. Then he cannot continue. I said, okay. He called the chef of who gave him the contract that he should take care of me, that I should work. He asked me whether I would go back with him. I said, no, I don't have enough money, because he himself was making hell of money out of that hospital. But they were paying him as through the meters. He did the whole job there. So he said he's going back. He went back home with at least some money. So I remained in Libya, in Tripoli, for a period of time. I continued the work there. They were paying me, not like him, because they didn't trust me. I was not there as a demand tile setter, but they knew me as a helper to the man. So when the man left, what they gave me was not the same, or not contracting me with any job there, but they were giving me a job they can pay me when I'm finished this work. So I was doing that, and they saw that I can do it. Then they started giving me a bigger job. That is where I made money. When the guy left, so unfortunately, when he got to Nigeria, it was not up to 3 weeks, the wife died. So that time we were communicating through internet that his wife died. I said, okay. And after that, I continued there in the hospital. When the renovation was over, Garavi's son came to see the work, the renovative work there. When it was concluded, he commissioned the work and he paid everybody off. And I was paid off from there. Then I went into the city, continued the same work, because from that point, I was able to buy my equipment, also to do the work by myself, for myself. So, and there, I did not work in any company. I was on my own. I was independent to do this tiling work by myself. When people come, I go to where people gather to look for work. And sometimes I don't even be there for a month or 2 months. I would be busy working for one place to another. If I finish this one, if I cannot finish it, I will tell the person that I will come for the next 2 days. Then I go to another work. I will work there for 2 days. I say we'll come back. That is how I did and survived in Libya from that point. So it was for me that, because I found out that Libya was an open society for everybody, irrespective of the law the man made against foreigner or against even his own citizen. Because if we talk about politics, if we talk about social life, if we talk about economical life, there was no Libyan at that time. It was either 0% unemployment. Everybody's busy. If you're a foreigner, if you're not working, meaning you're a lazy person. So you have to work and make your money. Both the Europeans, Americans, Africans, Filipinos, and whatever, Asians who were there, many, they were working and make their money. So I stayed here from 2003 till 2010. And when we entered 2011, it was February 28th, when we hear, because everybody, as far as you have a place to stay, your access, and you have right to have cable, satellite. So everybody, whether you are poor, you are rich, you have satellite in your house. You were watching, and if you go to Arab country today, in so many whether remote area or city or township, all of them, you see this plate, satellite plate on their roof. And they are watching everything happening all over the world. And that is why if anything happened today, they had the news more than any other person. They will be hearing and analyze the news by themselves, because when 2011 came, February, and there was an uprising in Benghazi. So when there was uprising, there was an incident between, I didn't know much about what had happened, and what I can give as an account was when I was not there in Benghazi, that a boy was whether was beaten by a soldier or a police, sorry. Then they said no. The people, the local came out in protest. They said no. Why must it happen like this? And the guy shouted, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, and then everybody came out, because the Benghazi was a state where the government of Gaddafi rejected and neglected. And in so much that the people did not like him. Why? Because according to the history, when Gaddafi came to power, I think he killed the king, and the king came from that lineage. So they were not happy. Up to since 1979, this man took over. Since 1969, this man took over the government. They were not happy. Anytime they want to overthrow this man, anytime this man want to go there, was problem, and the community, the society was rejected and neglected in terms of development. There was no development. So that is where the problem started. And we were hearing a rumor of war. Now this thing grew from strength to strength, having a lot of uprising, and people supporting, they call for international support, they call for community, everybody, that this, that. And we who were living in Tripoli, we were afraid, because we knew what may happen to we who are foreigners, more especially this tone skin color. That 2000 January, we were not comfortable, but I was working. Sometimes if I go to work in a private house, because I remember when I was working for a police officer, I asked him in Arabic language, Sino Miss Clarash. So he told me that yes, the problem is that we don't know what may happen next. But what he knows is that I should fasten his work and leave his place. I said, okay. And truly, I was holding a lot of work in my hand. Because when this uprising started, a lot of people flee. A lot of people were killing. I remember some of this in there, in Benghazi, they started chasing the blacks community, starting telling them that they are missionaries, that it is them that Gaddafi want to use to eliminate them, which was not true. And it was there we started hearing from February, March. So the tension going from one point to another, from one level to another level. March, April. So I found out that even in my environment, I have to change where I was living because I was not safe. There were so many illegalities at that material time, because I was inside the country when they enroll a lot of people for certain reasons. That, okay, you are in my country because I support Africa, though I'm not, because some of them, the Libyans, some of them, what is obtainable today, they don't feel that they are Africans. they completely feel that they are Arabs because they don't feel the impulse of Africans. They feel they are Arabs because they have link with the Arabs more than Africans. It's only in terms of trade or football, something like this, but in terms of any strong economical things, they are linked with Arabs. So it was there when this thing happened, I have to change my residence because it was more or less a remote place. I have to change. I called some people because people started fleeing to their respective country. And when the soldiers, the police found out that people are leaving, now they block road. They have some road blocks from sometimes 200 meters, sometimes 300 meters, sometimes 100 meters from one point to another. I remember vividly when Nigerian government sent at least, the one I remember, 6 times to bring flight in order to evacuate people from Libya back to Nigeria. I was not opportune to do so. The reason was that I was eager to go back to my country, really, but there was no chance, and I still risk to die at that time. So the only alternative way was for me when I contacted some of my friends who are now left. Though they gave me an idea from that February, March, April, 3 months, then it came to May. Then I was hearing announcement that, look, and these people in Benghazi, they are advancing from this thing to Misrata to Tripoli. Then they have given the people in Tripoli warning that they should wait, that it will be bloody, that they are coming. And they are coming, and they are coming for final. And you know that Gaddafi was not stable in one place. It was in Sinit, it was in Tripoli, he was also in Sabah. So it was not in one place. That is why it was very difficult. Sometimes he appeared in different form in different places. Then you cannot identify because he was a man which the people love him and likes him so much. And he had so many supporters at that time because he changed desert to be habitable place. He changed people, his own people life because he did not want his own resources to be controlled by foreigners. He controlled it by himself. He made the law by himself. And if you are not abide with the law, you are liable to be killed or they send you out of the country. So this was his own policies. So when this thing came up, and there was something so much interesting to know, that when this thing was too hot, the revolution was too hot, then the people they said, the Africans, it was not really an African, they were missionaries, it was not all. And these people they called missionaries at that time were the people called Tuareg. And they migrated from Mali and Algeria also. And you see these people, they are different from Africans. Sometimes they have pointed nose. You see their hair coiling. Sometimes you don't know where to clarify them, whether they're Africans or where they come from. So these are the people, but they have dark skin as to be black. And these are the people that live in Libya for centuries, for years, for a long time. So they know the culture, they speak the language, they live there they met, their families are there, their forefathers are still there. So when this revolution broke out, they're now generalizing that all the blacks are missionaries. They started killing black people, chasing them. And I could also watch, but I did not be in that point, when the black people, they gave them uniform, entering somebody's house bringing women, beating them. I think they raped them as well. I think this is what had happened, which I witnessed on television. But what I do know is that inside the country, we who were these foreigners or Africans, there was something that so much interested to know that at a point we were gathered to say that you have to support, whether you like it or not. But some of us did not want, we did not and never, more especially my country I come from, we rejected it. And we always in hiding. Because when you agree, they give you paper to sign, other things follows. Either they give you weapons or they send you to where you have to act with that weapon. And this is one thing we hear, because I remember I was in Tripoli, in the center of Tripoli. Then I was asked to this thing I did not know. There was something they organized as a table, they say you have. So I asked the person, I need explanation before I sign. They took my name, they this, because I never hold gun before. I don't know how to shoot. I never do anything. So I said, I need explanation. So the man was a black man, and he speak English clearly because I did not speak Arabic, but I understand Arabic. So he explained to me the reason why they are organizing this thing. I said no. So because they gave me the form to fill, I took off the form. I told the man that I'm coming. So when I left the place, I tore it into two. I threw it away. I left. I said, even most of my country people did not adapt to that I did not buy the idea. So that was where I left. When I left the scene in Tripoli, then I went back to my house. I said this thing, that was that ending of April. And that time the fight was too hot. And that time they declared no-fly zone. And it was that no-fly zone where I was living. There was a military zone there, which equipment was stock, heavily equipped place, and it was underground, you know. So I was there when they threw the bomb there straight, and my house was shaking. And when they threw the bomb, so we couldn't go out because it was in the evening. So the splashing of the particles even jumped into the house because it was too close. And there was no sign, there was no warning. So it was there. I said no. Now I realize that my life is at stake. I have to find how to go out of the country. So I asked my friend somewhere, I asked him, how do I go out from here? And I was alone. Other people have left. So he told me, do I have money? I said, yes, I have 1,200 dinars. He said I should come. I should enter, call a taxi, because taxi was running slowly. I should call a taxi. I called a taxi. I told him what I said, pack your load, but don't pack too much load. Just a small thing, leave everything. I said, okay. I was working that very day somewhere when we made the call. So he told me that I should come. I went there with my money. Even I was still laying ties in that man's house, because that man was monitoring me whether I would leave his work. So when he left, because he sells this farm produce or product. So when he left, I just washed my hand with my money, because I think 2 days back, he gave me some money of what I did. I did not show any sign that I'm leaving. It was that point I left everything on ground. I did not fold anything. I left the tires I was in, I cleaned it, I left the place. I entered the road, I called a taxi. I entered taxi, I said, I'm going to so place. He said, okay, enter. I asked him how much. He told me the price I paid. It was my way going. On my way going, I met a roadblock. The new phone I bought, that is where I almost lost my life as I was going, because they were after those who have, showing video to the outside world, because there was a lot of speculations about Libyan war and Gaddafi. So Gaddafi sent a lot of soldiers, a lot of police, a lot of spies to go out there, more especially the spies. They don't wear uniform, so they have to track you and search you. So that is where I almost lost my life, when I was struck on the street. Then they called me, they searched me. The stupid mistake I did was I removed SIM card from my old phone that I lost. I put inside my wallet, not knowing that that SIM card is still there. But I bought a new phone, and that new phone, I put it inside my private part. So on my way going with the taxi, they stopped me. There were two soldiers at the roadblock, one black Libyan, one white. They were there. So the white one was so aggressive. When he saw me as a black man, he stopped me, because at that time I dressed well. He stopped the taxi. He said he should park. The taxi parked. He said, what do you have? Do you have phone? That was the first thing the soldier asked me. I said, no. So he slapped me at that point. When he slapped me, he said I should say the truth. I said, I don't have phone. Because I knew that where I kept my phone, secured. So it took me some time there, because he said the bag I was holding, I should turn it upside down. I did, because it was food stuff, which I have to eat on my way to that place. So when I turned outside, the guy was not comfortable. He said, he asked me I should remove all my clothes. So when I removed, because it's forbidden in their country to naked person like that. So when I came to a point, well, that time it was cold, he said I should not remove anything. He searched me, he didn't say anything. The worst thing I saw, I brought out, he searched me, he saw my wallet, he brought out the wallet, he searched one after another. It was there the soldier saw the SIM card, I fold it with paper. Then he said, yes. Had a SIM? I said, yes. He said, well, how do I get SIM without phone? I said, it was an old this thing. It's an old this thing. He did not believe me. He started beating me, and the driver of the taxi was waiting for me, because I didn't pay him. He was waiting for me. He started beating me. And the other black soldier was still busy stopping, controlling traffic at that point. So he was beating me. At the point, he said I should bring out the this thing and my phone. I realized that because they are against people who speak English, that we are very trickish and corny in our own way of life. So it was there. He asked me to bring. I didn't respond to him after the beating. So he said I should bring down my this thing, my trouser. After I removed shoes and everything off my body, so I brought down my this, and then he searched my privates, and he saw the new phone I bought. That is where he cocked the gun. I was there, he cocked the gun, and the black soldier was standing by looking. Then when he heard, because he knows this guy that he will shoot, so when the guy heard him cocking the gun, then he rushed. He said, Asma. Asma. So when he called Asma, Asma means brother or boy. So the guy stopped and he rushed him. He said, "Shoot, hold on. What happened?" He explained to the guy. He said, "I waste his time." The guy said, "Okay, you should forget it." He said, "When I get the phone," he said, "Yeah." The guy looked at the phone. He said, "Okay." So as I bent down to pack all those things inside my bag again to enter the taxi, that is where he kicked me with his boot. Then I fell down, and it was there I woke up, tried to pack all those things inside. During this war, I'm talking now. So I want to escape from the country to elsewhere. So it was there I packed all my things inside the bag and entered the taxi again. The driver said, "Why I stubborn this way? I would have given him the phone before all these things." I said, "Well, it has happened, it has happened." So the driver took me to where I was going. When I got there, the guys told me that I have to sit down to arrange for how to cross to Italy. I said, "Okay, fine." So I stayed there for a while with the guy. He was feeding me. He was asking me whether I have the money to pay. I said, "Yes." But he said sometimes it's free, but because they buy food, the traffickers are heartless human beings. And anything can happen, and because they feel that, and these traffickers, I should say they are more or less killers, because they don't look at you when you don't have. They are enemy to you. When you have, they are friendly to you. And the man told me everything about how to move with the traffickers, because the traffickers, they are collaborating with both Libyans and the Africans. Because the African will bring their brothers and sisters and give it to them. He said, "Look, I have 5 passengers, I have 10 passengers." Then they gave them their percentage. Like in my own case, it was like that, because it passed from one person to another for almost 3 people. Before, even I almost missed the boat I wanted to enter, because the person I gave the money was not immediately transferred this money to the main person is supposed to get the money. So when I got to the seaside, so the guy said I cannot enter, but the guy communicated with him. He said would not enter, he never trust me. But the guy told me I gave the money, he communicated with him that he should allow me to enter and go. Then he will bring the money, because according to the complaint was that the road is very rough. The soldiers are so aggressive. They are not allowed people to cross anyhow with money. That he will see him and give it the money. So I was at the seaside, and we had only 2 days weather forecast. Because before you move, they go into computer, look into the weather forecast if it is clear. Because if in Libya, if the weather is clear in Libya, when you reach Tunis, water is not clear. And when you cross to no man's land, in Mediterranean Sea, then you see roughs. That is where people are dying. So they had only 2 days weather forecast. We were there in the camp when the guy came and called me and all the rest of the people. We were 175 passengers. I was left behind because I was not shortlisted for the people who want to enter the boat, because they called the names. So the guy, the trafficker who connected me to enter the boat, he stood by me. He said, okay, since the other guy called him that he would pay the money, I should not worry that he will give me chance to enter. But the Arab man did not allow me to enter. So the guy, when he counted, he see double names. He see different people. He see then he called his brother to guide the line, which people were standing. So the black African man was standing by me. He said I shouldn't worry. So when the people were marched into the boat, and the weather was still rough, so I was shivering. I was thinking what may happen next entering the boat, because I've never entered boat and crossed water before. And I asked questions. I said, how many hours? They told me sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's 17 hours, 18 hours, 21 hours. I say, on top of water, they say yes. Then, when they were marching to the boats, then the guy asked me to go. Immediately the guy turned around, the Arab man turned around. He said I should follow them. That is how I slipped in and entered the boat. And what's the only thing I remember I carried, which I still use it today, is only two things. Two important things. One is my clipper, which I bought, my clipper, and the other thing was a Bible. And this Bible was dropped at the seashore. So that this thing, I was putting it in my clipper, and it was expensive clipper. So when I put it here, there was no checking. So one man ran to the boat. He said, who have this Bible? Who have this Bible? I said, it's me. He gave it to me. He said, no. You cannot drop Bible in our seashore. That is Arab man. That is forbidden. I said, okay. He gave it to me. I took it. That Bible, I'm still using it today. The clipper, I'm still using it today. Then the journey started 7 a.m. in the morning. And the weather was very rough. Then, and I didn't know the captain of this boat. I never knew that he was an Algerian guy who took on the responsibility of pushing the boat. So we went, he was going, and he was a good captain. This thing was rough. And on my way going on Mediterranean Sea was terrible thing that I never knew, I never experienced, I never imagined in my life that a Mediterranean Sea or any sea has a hill. So, and it was there I found out some corpses of people on top of water. It was there I see olophin, a fish, who directed when we missed road. Because I was, even when people slept, I couldn't sleep. Because it was so fearful to me. And when water is, splashing, coming to this thing, I was afraid. I said, oh my God. Then it came to a point, when we got to that, there's a place also in Mediterranean, in deep sea, they call no man's land. Then the other side is European land. This side is Africa, that is Tunis. That is where I became so afraid. We drove that from morning till evening, 7 o'clock. From that 7 o'clock, we entered the following day. And that time, you don't use light. You don't use anything. You don't see anything. You only hear the noise of the water splashing. You don't see the front. You don't see back. You don't see the side, and there is no land. So as we were going, we saw some other boat inside the disembark boat. I think it was Navy boat. But that night, what I experienced, there was a boat standing by, I think it was a big boat, whether a fishing boat, I don't know where they came from, but they show us torchlight. Then we hear some noise. We didn't know whom these people were. Then we passed by. As we were going, the guy missed a road when we were going that night, when he missed road. Then he said to us that he has missed road because he speaks Arab, that we have to look the tranja and the compass. Then when he looked the compass ceased. He said, okay, because he have pushed this boat before, then he knows the way. He have to wait on top of the water until the following morning. Then when the sun rise, then he follow the sun. And that is how we survive. And it got to a point that when we climbed this thing, it was in the morning. When we climbed it's like mountain, but it's water form the hill. So when we climb and stay the other side and we feel a new breeze, different feelings. We perceive different breeze, very fresh. So it was different thing altogether. Then when we move almost 300 kilometers, because driving inside on top of water, you cannot know the diameter or the kilometer which you move. You only move in order to reach where you are going. Only the captain knows where, because he used the tranja, he used compass in order to give him the information where he's going. It was only him. I've never experienced this. But we moved very far away until the day was around 11 to 12 in the afternoon when we saw a helicopter coming with with flag. Then it was coming down. Then the passengers were shouting, jubilating. So we have gotten to Italy. Because when you cross to Italian water, there is 3 ways to go. Either the first one, either you go to Malta, or after the second one, you go to Sicily. The third one is going to Lampedusa. These are the 3 areas, and if you are not careful, either you go to this thing, because you will even see the building. When you are passing, you will see the Malta. You will see the city, because it's close to the water there. And Sicily is very far. So we said we are going to Lampedusa. And this Lampedusa is an island. It's not close to any Italian city at all. You cross by water for 3 days before you get to the other Italian city. So when we got to that point, we crossed over there. I was seeing a lot of things I cannot imagine. Corpses, plate, a bottle of water, so many things that are flowing on top of the water. So it flowing like this, and corpse started decaying. Sometimes if I see it, I say I cannot look at it. And some people, when they see it, some just don't want to look at it. So we move on. When the helicopter came, it gave us signals that we should go, and he moved a little forward. Then the captain was following the helicopter. And almost 1.5 hours, we saw a boat coming very far away, very small boat, not that it's a Navy boat. Because it was very far. You know, a plain land, even if you go to 200 kilometers, you only see a very small object coming, not knowing that the boat was very big boat coming. Within half an hour, it already came to the place. We never knew it was rescue boat. He came. He told us that we should not panic. We should take it easy. I asked us whether anybody sick, whether anybody died. So because they jumped into the boat, we said no. Nobody died. So they said we should follow them. And from that, between that 11 to 12, before we got to Lampedusa Island, it was around 4 o'clock, because it was very far away from there where they met us. Then when we got to Lampedusa Island, then they drop us. The first thing they asked us, where is the captain? And the good thing is that any captain that captain any boat from that place, he will not identify himself. And that is the warning we have had. When the rescue people come, the captain will leave the place. He will not stand there because it's like a steering. He will not stand there. Everybody will leave the place. And it will be in the midst of, because when he's moving, it will put this thing into motion. It will be going, or it's flowing like that. So the people ask, who is the captain? We say we don't know. And they will not force you to say what you don't know. So the boat was flowing on top of the sea. Then they said, okay, fine. Anybody can pilot this thing. We said no. Then one of the men take over the steering. He goes slowly, slowly, slowly. Now he said no, he should stop. He will not do it for us. That somebody must be a captain here. So we said, okay, maybe we will look for somebody. So when one of the passenger came out, that he can do it, try. So the Italian now realized that maybe he's the captain. So when we got to the island, so they arrested the guy, say you are the person. So we don't know what had happened that time anymore, because they just sent us out of the boat on the island, took us to a place. They gave us singlets. They changed all the shoes you wear. You have to throw it away. You remove. I didn't have any this thing water. I mean this thing jacket, life jacket. I didn't have it, but we survived. Nobody died inside out of 175 people, because it was not all that big boat. So we came down. They shared the shoes and this thing. It's singlet. Oh yeah, they don't like the shoes they gave to me. I was still maintaining and using my shoes as I came down from the boat, because I told them that I don't like the shoes. It's not my color. I have a color. So they said, okay, no problem. They gave me water. They gave me a parcel of pasta to eat. We ate. They said, okay, now you have to go into fingerprints. We all fingerprinted, and they sent us to a resting room. They show us a heap of mattresses. You take your own, the one that is clean, you find position to rest. So we were there for 3 days. Now, when we were there 3 days, they come and number many people, which I was among. They said, now today we are going to Napoli with a bigger boat, which take almost 7,000 people, the big boat. So from Lampedusa to Napoli took us 3 good days. From Friday, Saturday, Sunday evening. When I got to Napoli, my eye opened wide. I said, where am I? So I never knew that people who are contractors were waiting for us. Because when you get to that place, they will share the number of people, give to the contractors, give to agents, give to NGOs, those who have projects for you to stay with them, continue your process of paper and the rest of things. So I don't know whether I would say I was unlucky or lucky to fall into the hands of the mafia. I fell into the mafia hand. And one funny thing was, we were only 3. So I was feeling whether I was sold to these people. because the car they came with, it was a very nice bus, tinted bus like this. They paraded us to enter the bus. I was not comfortable because they don't speak English. They speak only Italiano. It's only one man that tried to speak English a little bit. So he was in Nigeria, 1971. He now left Nigeria because the contract was over. And that is what I understood from him, because he's trying to speak the language. So I couldn't speak the English anymore. I left Nigeria for a very long time. But don't worry, I'm your capo. I said, okay. When we got to a city called Latronico, that's the first city I landed as my own camp. And this place was an abandoned hotel where they abandoned us. They abandoned for a very long time. And grass grew and covered the hotel. It was only when the refugees came, they now started putting things in place. Even the pool was renovated. They drained out all the water in order to refill and wash it and do other things. And they brought machine in our presence. It was there I realized that Italian has one wicked snake, black snake like this. And that is where I realized that there was so many snakes in that place, because the grass grew for a very long time. And scorpions. And you will be staying, because scorpion, if you see, scorpion is not fast. Because scorpion, if you want to enter this house, you will just come and stay there. And we've seen all these things on daily basis. And we cry out that this is not a place for human being to live, because this place has been abandoned for so long. There was no hot water, there was no AC, there was no electricity. It was when we came in, then they started looking for where they put it off and on it for us to use light. So all those facilities and domestic things were not there. It's only when we came to that place, then they brought machine to cut the grass and so many other things. Then the place started become life again through our assistant there. Then we spent almost 2 months there. We were not comfortable because the people were not friendly. The people were not friendly at all. If you go to a shop to buy anything or to sit down, because we don't need to buy anything because we don't have any money. The only thing we need to do when you are tired, you have to go out and stroll all around the little city. And people were not all that comfortable. Even you could go, because a human being was meant to be a worshiping being. Then you want to go to where people are worshiping, like church. You sit down, people just see you as a ghost. So we were not obliged to do so anymore. Sometimes we stay back and stay on your own. There is no point for us to go and see yourself isolated in the midst of people. So we stay behind. So life goes on. When the man came, I never knew, as I said, it was a Mafian. So we told him everything, that, okay, what is our fate here now? How do we survive? How do we communicate with our families back home? Now, he said, government didn't pay him this thing. And what I want to say here emphatically is that we were reliable to have 50 euro per day. But do you know how much we were given? Even not that man. It was after 1 year they took over the contract from him and gave it to another NGO. It was after 1 year they started giving us €2.50 per day instead of 50 euro. And this blunder continues up till when we left the camp. Now, it was in this camp when we protested We say, no, this man is cheating us. This man is doing like this. Then we block the road. People protested, destroyed a lot of things, and they took us to another hotel outside that place in another called CCP. When we reached CCP, a hotel was close to this thing, filling station. So the same people, we say we want to leave the place, when we saw this thing, and that time was so hot, so there was no AC, there was no place for you to even have, because it was on top of mountain, the hotel, and nobody always go there. It was also abandoned hotel. Then we also protested there and blocked the major road. So the owner of the filling station, they said, no. He called the authorities that we should leave that place immediately because his filling station is at risk. We can set fire on it. And they did not waste time. So when we leave CCP, they took us to Matera. And that place was a little bit okay because it was a hotel where people lunch, people come and go. The down was a coffee shop and selling some other things. Though it was outskirts of the city, a place called Matera. But we love it because it was okay. And that place was well equipped. But that was not to say that we were treated the way we should be treated. When we were there, we stayed there it was there you have to go to commission, because commission was set to try your case, why you leave your country, why you come to Italy, what brought you here, what position, what were you doing in Italy, all these questions came over when you are asked to go to commission, because this commission was organized by the government and they put lawyers and retired judges to try you and know what you have to tell the Italian government. And this was organized, and that time I became sick when I came to the new place. So I became sick. All the people in that camp went to commission. I was not there. I was in the hospital because I spent 60 days in hospital when I got to Italy because I had dislocation in my bone. Because of the laying of lace I was doing in Libya, the thing affected me because I stayed without doing anything. So this thing, I had that. There was a day I sat there, I couldn't walk, I couldn't go to toilet from my bed to toilet. This thing was paining me, I shouted. So they called ambulance, the people taking care of us, called ambulance, they took me to hospital. I spent 60 days. 1 month for taking drugs and treatment, 1 month for rehabilitation. So I came back. It was in the hospital bed when I was about going, they arranged for my commission to go. So I went there to make my case known to the government why I left my country, because they were much particular why you left your country to Libya. What were you doing? So I have to explain to them explicitly why I left my country, why things, and there are some story they don't want to hear. There are some story they want to hear. There are some story that you will tell. They will find out that you are telling lies. And the case is that you have not to tell lies, because they will ask you for proof and evidence. So when my story was told, I showed evidence. They said they need written evidence, which was not available. But my evidence, I proved to them that these are the things, because I have a scars here that were what had happened to me on my leg, and I showed to the judge, and he couldn't really say, where is the proof, where is a police report? So there was nothing like this. So from there, after the judgment, I came back to my hotel room. Then I tried, they gave me some crutches to try to walk in order for the place to heal properly. Then after a while, it was okay, I walked normally. So as I was sitting down, they said, oh, I have negative. What happened? They said my story is not genuine story for me to have the chance to stay in Italy. So already I said, okay, no problem. Because it was not only me that had negative. It was so many people in that camp. Actually, when it was 2012, they said, okay, they will deport a lot of people back to their respective country. So,
when was it again?
2012.
Yeah.
That they want to deport so many people to their respective country. Remember, I got to Italy 2011. After a long process, on and on, from one hotel, from one camp to another. So after they have given people negative, they said the Italian government cannot take care of all this number of people because I remember vividly, during that war in Libya, Ban Ki-moon made an announcement in so many social media and mainstream television like Al Jazeera, which I like to watch. He said the Mediterranean country in Europe should open their doors for refugees from Libya because they are killing, there are so many destruction in Libya, which I follow this in. And that was not the case because I believe that the UN was supporting this initiative strongly. But they were calling it a North Africa initiative program that was to finance and sponsored by UN, which I followed the trend of the announcement and the news oftentimes, even if I'm working. So the time came to that 2012 when I had negative. They said they want to deport everybody. I said, okay, fine. So it was that same 2012, this man won election, Obama. It was when Obama's second term was announced that the Italian government, I don't know whether it was because of Obama or something else that prompted the Italian government to declare everybody that they have given everybody humanitarian document. Then we were jubilating, happy, this, that. We were waiting. So most of the Italians were not happy when this thing was announced. Then we said, okay, what do we do? They took us to the questora, that is the immigration, to identify you, to do more on your your document. So, and this document was not given to us by free of charge. They asked us to pay money, which we paid. I did not have money at that time because I did not work, did not give me anything. It's only at a period of time where after 1 year, €2.50 per day, which is €75 per month. And it has nothing to do with that document they asked us to pay, because it was more than that. And this money, sometimes if you remove €50, sometimes you want to buy something that you are hungry to eat, or you need it, or shoes or anything, then there is no money with you. So it came to that time there was no money. And a lot of people engaged themselves into different activities which I didn't want to do.
How much was it? How much did you need to pay?
Okay, to pay it was €120 to buy all those things for you to get the document. And this document was called traveling document. It was not, but inside Italy, you can use it to rent a house, you can use it to work, you can use it for anything. But outside Italy was just a traveling document, which today we are suffering with that same document. And those who came from Italy having the same document, you are not allowed to work. Now, when I left this in that 2012, we were struggling because it was around August. They announced that we have to, they have given us humanitarian document. Now we started the process. I did not have money to, a lot of people in the camp had their money because some of them engaged in different fetish activities like that, which I didn't want to do, like baking and other things. So I said, no, I cannot do such, engage myself in such activities. Which I was lucky where I was trying to go to worship with the Italians. One lady came to me. I didn't know, we are not friendly, we are not in connection with anything. She just came in full hand like this after service. Because I always called Udo, not Asuko. So he called me, Udo, come. She took me by the corner. He gave me something in my hand. I said, oh, tutto bene? I said, yeah, tutto bene. Because I didn't speak Italiano very well. He said, yes, tutto bene. Oh, grazie. Because when I turned, I saw money. But the money, I don't know how much was the money. And immediately the lady gave me the money. She left, kick her car, and left. So the following Sunday, she didn't come to service. When I went home, the hotel, I opened the money, was 400 euro. And this was more than what I wanted and what I expected. So from this thing, I did not have phone. I have to buy phone. From that money, I have to confidently go through the process of my document with this money the lady gave to me. It was after 3 weeks the lady came to church service. I asked her through somebody who speaks Italiano very well, because the pastor in that church is an English-speaking person, but is Italian. So I asked the pastor to greet her for me, that he have solved my problem, part of my problem. And she said, no. It's just a dash, it's just a gift. You just give it to me. She and her husband contribute to give it to me. I said, okay, fine. I greeted the lady. She left. So it was that same money I used to make everything. I bought new phone and do some other things with the money. So now when after we got the document, and they tell us they were very angry and aggressive with us. I mean the government itself, which they use carabinieri and police and other things, and they evacuate everybody. And before then, we had the news that some other camp, they are paying them 500 euros, some 700, some 1,000, some 250, some 150. So we said, and we had nothing. After they have given us the document, and they gave us a day that after they have given us document, we have to evacuate from the camp. So we were waiting for the government to come and tell us that, okay, you are reliable to get 500 euro or 200 or 5 or 1,000. Nobody come. I went to because I was more or less a little bit closer to the commissioner of police in the Questora. So it's a lady, she speaks English. I went to her privately because she told me, because before then, even when I was in the camp, I wrote articles. Article was called "We Can Make Difference," and the other one was called "Children Born in Italy Without Proper Documentation." The other one was about African African refugees in prison. And I wrote 4 articles. The last one was, okay, I will tell you when I remember. So when this lady, I presented these articles to the lady. So she was very happy. She said she was the first lady that took me to Rai 3 television. Maybe you know about the Rai 3 television in Italy. It was in that city. The commissioner took me to the newsroom that they should publicize the articles, which I spoke in English. They translated in Italiano, and they showed the whole Italian this thing. So I went to the lady. I said, I heard that we are to collect at least 500 euro. Where is it? How is it? She said no, she never knew anything about this development. I said, okay, we will know. So I left. When I left, the news was circulating. And more speculations were all around Italy. Some talk about 700, 500. We said we need it. That is where I mobilized people, that we need this money. Because if we are out of this place and we don't have anywhere to go, there is no work in Italy. You don't have father, you don't have mother. So I spoke to so many people in the camp there. I told them that we have to fight for our rights here. And people agreed with me. He said, okay. One fateful day also, when I mobilized, I go from hotel room to hotel room. I said, let's go. And all of them agreed. Only few did not agree. We went to the Questora, we protested, we sing song, we need our rights. We appointed one guy who was fast to learn Italiano, to speak Italiano among us there. So we asked him to tell the man in charge, this assistant governor in that city. Because we went straight to the governor's house, office. So the man came out, he said, what is the problem? We said, this is what we had. Is that true or not? And we need it because our time is almost close to go out of the hotel or the camp. And we don't know, we don't have money. He said, okay, we should give him time to send message to Rome, whether it is true or not. We said, okay. And the man responded very well. So we went back to our hotel. About after 5 days, the man came back. He came to the hotel by himself with all the entourage to tell us that, yes, we are liable to get 500 euro. But this 500 euro, we are not giving us here in the hotel. The moment the time is ripe, we should come to Questora, that is the immigration office, with your load, with your luggage. And when they give you this money, you go wherever you want to go. We said, okay. And already we have gotten the 1-year document, which was called humanitarian documents. When we got this thing, we have it with us. Then, the day they came with a bus, with equipment, devices, with a number of policemen and women, and other security agencies to evacuate everybody, taking us to the immigration office in order for us to get the 500 and go where you want to go. So after this thing, all of us marched into the bus. They took us to Questora inside the city. They were giving us envelope, you sign that you have collected 500 euro. I then asked, before I collected the money, I asked them, this money you are giving to me, is it a compensation? Or is it a gift? Or is it a send-off gift? I was asking the man in charge. He told me that he don't know. Anyhow, I want to take this money is for me. He did not disclose the source of this money and what it's meant for. Because I wanted to know for record purposes. He refused to tell me. And that is when I came to Germany. People were asking, maybe you are aware, were asking, oh, I heard that you collected 500 euro to come to Germany, this, that. I said, no. You have to go to the root of the matter and know where you have to report your case to. Not just jump into a matter you don't know. You were not there with us. I know where the money came from. So that was by the way. But what I'm saying in essence is that after we collected this money, the money was given to us 500 in that particular camp. I don't know other camps, how much they are given to them. But when we were given this money, they said their business with us is over. They have no business with us. We have signed it off. And if you are in the city, you are on your own. We said, okay. It was that point I became stranded with money in my hand. Where am I going? Even before then, I was thinking where to go. Because there is no work in Italy. The 500 euro, you cannot rent a house. And when you even rent a house, how would you continue with it? So all these things came to my mind. Then we were discussing in numbers, in twos, in threes, and in group to see how best we can, make our way out of this scenario. And it was so difficult at that time. Then I had an Italian family friend who was so close to me. Then when the man and the woman and the family, because they have one child, one son, heard that we have evacuated from the hotel. The man rushed to see where I am. When the man came, he asked me, where are you going now? I said, I don't have anywhere to go. The man looked at me. The man puzzled. He said, okay, where is your load? I said, look at it. He said, enter motor. We were two, whom they were family friends to them. The man took us to a hotel, one local hotel. He paid for that night. When the man left the hotel, he called two of us. He said, look, I'm leaving you people here till tomorrow. I'm coming here to bring food for you guys to eat. Make a decision whether you want to stay here, where you want to stay, or where you want to go. Decide, because I will not continue to pay a hotel. I only make a relief for you to calm down your mind, your brain, decide what to do. We said, okay. That night we didn't sleep enough. We sat down, me and that guy called Ike. He said, what do we do? The guy said, he want to go to Berlin. I said, no. I said, okay, me, I like Berlin. He asked me, do I know anybody there? I said, I don't know anybody. He said, okay. I said, in Germany, where do you know somebody? He said, he knows somebody in Hamburg. I said, okay. The man, after we decided where to go, we did not decide vividly where to go, but it was me. I said, I want to go to Berlin. The other, my friend, we stayed in the hotel together, said he wants to go to meet his friend in Hamburg. Then we hung up the option like that. We didn't take the decision. So it was there. The guy said to me, said to me, let us decide one thing. Then, the following morning when the man came, he asked us, do we decide where to go? We said yes. He said, okay, I want to book a ticket. Where are you guys going? Then the other guy who was with me, because he speaks Italian a little bit, he told the man that we are going to Hamburg. The man said, okay, no problem. He took us to agencies. They call it agenzia in Italiano, booking agencies. Then we check all the traveling procedures from Bari to Düsseldorf. It was cheaper. So the man said, okay, this is what he had. I tell you, if you get to Düsseldorf, you will find your way. We said yes. And that time I was with 500 euro and with at least 250, make it 700 euro with me. No, I was with that 500 euro with me. Then the man said, okay, he will book the ticket for two of us. We said, okay. The man went and booked the ticket in presence of us. He booked the ticket, he gave it to me, he gave it to the other guy. They gave us time when to move. The man said, okay, from Matera to Bari Airport. The man used his car. He said, will take us there. He left his work because some of the Italians, they are good. Some of them are not. So when we get there to the airport, we have forgotten the airline we bought. I cannot recall the kind of airline because I was a novice on that aspect. So we entered flight. We landed in Düsseldorf. When we landed in Düsseldorf, we became on our own. When we landed, Düsseldorf was a kind of city I didn't like because of the landmark and the way things were going. So I told the guy that when we went to the hotel, I never knew the hotel was so expensive, 84 euro. We were complaining, we paid for 2 days. I paid almost 100 and almost 200 of 160 or 170. I told the guy that the money is expensive because we didn't know anywhere and it was night. We have nowhere to stay, and I had one big luggage like this, which I've loaded my clothes because I like to have my clothes with me. So, and before that man booked that this thing, he gave us 250 euro each of us. He gave me 250 euro, he gave the other guy 200. In addition, I had 750 euro. He booked the ticket for us. So when we landed, we have nowhere to go. We launched in a hotel. After 2 days, the guy said he's going to Hamburg to meet his friend. So when we get to Hamburg, it was around 7 o'clock. 13th of March 2013, I landed in Hamburg. So when I landed in Hamburg, we met that guy 7 o'clock in the evening. It's Billstrasse here. So we came there because the guy was controlling that he should come to Billstrasse. We come to Oberndorf, then there is one station, it will enter train to that place. We came through, we took a taxi. We didn't want to, but we had the money. So when we met the guy, I was standing outside because it's a workshop. It's still existing up to today. We met the chef of the mechanical workshop. So he told the guy that, okay, now we are two. Because the guy didn't see me face to face. I was standing while he went inside the mechanical workshop. He was staying there almost till 9 o'clock in the evening. I was standing outside under the cold. Then all of them came out with the chef. I never knew they discussed, they concluded everything within themselves. And when the guy came out, he saw me, he said, you are still here? I said, yes. Ike was waiting for you. And what is the decision? Can we go? They said, no. The other guy said, or the chef, he said to the other man that, look, this guy only want to help you, that there is no chance for any other person than this guy. I said, okay. Then it was there, I did not even hesitate. I asked the other guy who happened to be a friend to my friend, do you know any nearby hotel? He said, yes. Then we walk a step about 100 meters from where the DC is located, the mechanical workshop, to the hotel. Then a booking, it was 15 euro per night. So I booked for 2 days, 30 euro. So when I booked for 2 days, the guy was calling me. I said, I'm fine. And then I moved around, I came back. Sometime I ate inside that day because it was not expensive, but 7 euro. So I ate finish. After 2 days, I have to pay. I said, okay, I have to pay for 7 days. That is 1 week, because I wanted to prolong and see how best I can compose myself. So it was at that time I moved from the hotel inside Urbanov. When I went to Urbanov, one fateful Saturday, I saw demonstrators at the Urbanov. Then I was having my phone, my small phone. I approached one lady. I said, why are you here? She said to me, they are supporting refugees. They are from different places and people from Laga. I was moving, I was recording. I was moving along with them, with the lady. I was interviewing her as a journalist. She was keen to talk to me very well. So I said, where are you from? He says, Russian. I said, why do you stay here in Germany or in Hamburg? He said, she stays here. I said, all these people, all this cloud of people, where are they from? Are they from this city or somewhere? They said they are from different part of the city in Deutschland, that is from Berlin, and I saw that some of them came from Berlin because it was a large crowd of people. Then I moved from the lady, I talked to one boy also. He said he's a German, he's supporting refugees, he's a left and this and that. He told me everything about himself, that yes, they have to give freedom to the asylum seekers because we are against mass accommodation, free movement, all those things are not in place. Then we need freedom, and that is why he's supporting them. I said, but I asked him, don't you think that Berlin is the best place for you to demonstrate than Hamburg? Because Hamburg is not a seat of the government. He said, yes, we have done in Bonn, Frankfurt, Berlin, and many places, and Munich, and here is their own time to do it in Hamburg. That is why you see a lot of people. I said, okay, fine. Then I did not ask those two guys anything. Then I went to a black guy called Ali. He's on wheelchair. Then when I met Ali, Ali did not speak English very well with me. But I asked him one question because I realized that he doesn't speak English. I said, who is the organizers of this organization? I mean, this demonstration. He said to me, it's an organization called Caravan. I said, Caravan? He said, yes. I said, okay, fine. Who is one of this? Are you a member? I said, yes. But the person who is organizing is called Raf. I said, okay, can I see the person? He said, okay. As we are going, we'll come to him because the man always guided by people and that Raf always close to him. So I said, okay, fine. When Raf came closer to him, I said, is it the person? He said, yes. I called Raf. Excuse me, please, can I talk to you? He said, yeah. He asked me, are you a journalist? I said, no. But I want to talk to you. I want to ask you something because I'm interested of what is going on here. He said, okay, but they have no time to talk to me at this moment. But can we talk later? Or want to give me, because they have meeting in the organization every Tuesday and Thursday. Can I come to their meeting? I said, okay, fine. But I will be part of this this demonstration today. He said, okay, he gave me the address, he gave me his number, that they always have meeting at a place called B5 or St. Pauli. I said, Colibri. I said, okay. When I took this thing from him, I left because I was in the hotel. I have to go back in order to recognize the place I'm going. So I went back to the hotel to stay. So Tuesday came, I went to the meeting. I told them that I'm a refugee because there were so many refugees in that meeting. I said, I'm a refugee, but I need something. I need a help from the organization. The help is that I want to talk to the mayor of the city. They were laughing, all of them were laughing at me. Both the black and white, both men and women, they were laughing and said, how possible it is. So Ralph, who had a listening ear, listened to me. He called me outside. He said, who are you to go? Because going to Right House to see a mayor is not an easy task for me to do. So that is what he told me. And I cannot go there alone. And he said to me that they, as Caravan, cannot go with me. Because there is a demarcation that if you go there, you will be arrested and prosecuted, because it's a law that no demonstration should pass that 500 meters away from the Right House. I said, don't worry. I insisted that, okay, I told them that at that meeting that what I found out in this city is that a lot of people, refugees, even non-refugees, are sleeping on the street. Why? And I also realized that what I gather where I'm staying in a hotel, that the law is that nobody should sleep in the street. But I'm seeing a lot of people sleeping. I want to ask the mayor, not any other person, the mayor himself. So when I said to them that this way, some of them were somehow skeptical. Some of them were not sure of if I can do it. So it was that point they called the meeting, they adjourned the meeting till Thursday. That Thursday I came back again. I put to them the same request. I said, I don't need anything from you guys. So at a point, one man called Fode. He said, if I want to go there, because he lives here, he's a African, but live here for a long time. He has German document. He said to me that the law is that you cannot go there alone. If you can have average of 100 people or 150, it's okay. You go in group, tell them your problem, but we cannot come. As people who know the law, we cannot follow you. I said, okay, fine. So after that Thursday, when Tuesday again I went back, they did not still believe that I would do it. But I told them that I want to go. They said, okay, how many people do you have? I said, I don't have anybody. He said, go and look for other refugees. Gather at least 100 if you can. I said, okay. Then when I went back, there was a place, 3 places we normally eat free of charge at St. Pauli there, and that place is still existing up to today. They call one they call Bethlehem. That is the name I quickly remembered. Other places are there at St. Pauli there, near Ripaban, in between Ripaban. So I wanted to eat. I met one guy we normally see each other, called Afu. And this guy speaks from Italy. He speaks Italiano, he speaks French, he speaks English, he speaks which language again? I think he speaks Hausa language. So I met Afu. I said, I have an idea. of refugee. If you see, even where we always eat, you see people lying, putting their pillow, lying there, or the open space, under that cold, because it was March. The cold was still, if you could remember 2013 cold in this Hamburg, you know that people were dying, people were frozen. So I told Afo that I have an idea. I want to meet a mayor of this city. Afo also was doubting me. I said, I don't need you to come to me, but what I need from you, you speak so many languages, and the number of people in this city are French people. You can convince them, and they are all eating in these 3 places. And you go around these 3 places to eat. Now talk to them. What I want you to do for me is that talk to them. If you talk to them, if they agree, I will give you paper to write their names, write their phone numbers, and I will tell them what to do. Afo said, okay, fine. As I was talking outside the restaurant, so one guy was sitting beside me. It was a Ghanaian guy called Nana Kofi Mark. He said, oh, mister, I'm interested of what you said now. I asked him, where are you from in Africa? He said he's a Ghanaian. I said, well, how many languages do you speak? He said he's only speaking Ghanaian language and Italian. I said, okay, talk to your people. Next week, I'm coming here to see how many people we have. And I was staying one place and with them at B5 near St. Pauli there, or Ripaban there, sorry. So my phone rang. It was Afo called me that he have gathered so many people, up to 50, 60. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, where can we meet? I gave him a meeting appointment. We met, we spoke. He said, okay, I shouldn't worry. That next appointment, then I went on Thursday, that fateful day, I went to Caravan meeting. I said, I need paper because I don't have anything. I need paper and bureau. They said, okay, they gave me 4 full scarf of paper. I want to write the names of the people because I was serious. And they didn't take me serious. So when they gave me the paper with bureau, I went back to Afo. I called Afo. I said, where can we meet these people? Afo said, I shouldn't worry, that he would talk to them. Then I told Afo that before you talk to these people, let them meet me at the urban of there. I will be waiting for them under that tree, open space. He said, okay. And to my greatest surprise, that very day I booked an appointment with Afo and Kofi Nani Mark. About 100 and something people came. And they were gathering together, rushing to write their name and their phone number, different people. That day we got up to 115 people.